So this podcast starts in 43 seconds, 42, but now we're live. What's going
on. I believe we are live. I'm just gonna go check right now and take a look on my. Yeah,
So
we are
what-
live. We are live.
Well,
We're only
we're live. What's going on with this podcast starting in the clock?
It's called the countdown. Now, soon, eventually, I'm going to add music to it because trust me when I tell
like,
you.
why are we counting down if we're already live? Anyways,
because we're gonna let the people know we're coming, and then we're gonna, instead of just doing the roll and start like we were doing before, we're gonna do it this way from now on. The only difference is I'm gonna add music so we don't have to hear you talking.
This
or
is
hear
no
your voice at all.
This is the definition of Daryl's Mickey Mouse operation. It's okay.
And there we go.
And there we go.
And there we go.
I think we need to
the show, sir. There you go. There you go. Here we are. Look at that little countdown, little timer in the corner. What is up, people? Big day for us here over at Brothers Talk. I, as always, am your board-certified fantasy football and all sports guru. And for the first time in the history of the podcast, we are going live simultaneously on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and
supposedly,
and YouTube. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you kids to do. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to subscribe. I want you to pay attention to above my head. That's where you can find us on all social media platforms. And welcome to the show. For those of you that are just new to the show, I am your board-certified fantasy football guru. The guy beside me that you're looking at right now, he's called D. Sanchez, but we call him the sidekick. And you're going to get to know him over the next little while. For those of you that already do, I'm sorry. Been trying to get rid of him, but I can't. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't
coach him. Can't win with him.
Okay, so this is where we're at, people. Last week we started to let you know what's going on with the NFL draft and the teams that are at the top of the food chain, sort of the middle. We're going to take a look at the teams right now as we're getting ready for the draft of teams that are kind of not so, what shall we say, good, I guess. Does that make sense? Who knows? But for right now, we're going into let's go into that team that everybody doesn't really look at anymore, the San Francisco 49ers. And
really? We're gonna start like that. Okay.
Sorry? San Francisco 49ers. Let's not act like a lot of people care about what's going on in Frisco. So key
Alistair, Susie, Big Brown, Mr. Leffler, Samuel Jackson. There's a lot of people who care about Niners names.
Say these names like anybody in mankind cares about these names, but nobody.
You care about your viewers. We only have 9 of them, and half of them are San Francisco fans. So you should respect the people that support your platform, my friend.
I'll let you tell it. Now, here's the thing, sir. Since you're the quote-unquote expert on the San Francisco 49ers, why don't you tell us about what your team did? The key acquisitions. Where they kept Jimmy G, and I'm proud of you for that. Way to keep Jimmy G.
You realize that it's only April, right?
Sorry? Oh, sorry. He's still not there? Jimmy G left? He's not there anymore? Oh, sorry.
You got to come up with some new material because this is like we're still the team that knocked you out of the playoffs, B. We're still the team that fucking bitch slapped you into submission. So it's okay. I understand why.
Are we at the point right now where I
still understand? Like, I get it. You're upset.
Are we at the point in life right now where I can't even ask you a question about the San Francisco 49ers without you getting in your feelings?
No, you're not asking questions, though.
No, but you're a little bit in your feelings.
You're just making these silly declarations talking about Jimmy G. Like,
excuse me. I said I'm very proud that Jimmy G's there. I'm happy for you guys. It shows that, you guys really know what you're doing. What's wrong with that?
See, this is the reason why Sanchez Incorporated needs his own show. And we're gonna get there. We'll bring little Daryl on for weather and traffic once a week, but I'm happy that we've got this new format. You got the Twitch, you got the Facebook, you got the Instagram, and all that stuff.
For the kids, that's what the kids are doing. That's what the kids do out there.
But make no mistake, this stuff is going to be obsolete in a couple of weeks when the real platform gets rolled out.
What would that be? The Sanchez platform?
No, man. Niners Empire, 24/7.
Oh my gosh!
All things San Francisco.
All right, let's go to your 49ers. Your key acquisitions, you picked up a DB, much needed for your secondary. You got rid of a bit of the offensive line, maybe a tackle. What are your thoughts going into your team in the draft?
There's too many moving parts, man. Like right now, we still have to address the secondary. That's what we're gonna do. We don't have a pick until the end of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it a fancy third. But again, I'm curious to see if, and again, I told you this before. I don't think Jimmy G gets traded before the draft. I think his shoulder surgery needs to get sorted out. And I think that ultimately he's going to go to wherever there's an injury. Someone is going to get hurt between now and September. And they're going to look up two names. They're going to look up Jimmy G and they're going to look up Baker Mayfield. Those are the two most legitimate veteran play callers available. And quite frankly, I think most teams would prefer to have a healthy Jimmy G. So
should we talk about the elephant in the room? There's a lot of noise being made right now about Colin Kaepernick working out. And he came out and said today that he would actually accept a backup position on an NFL team. He just wants to get in the game. Would you want to see Colin Kaepernick come home and be back in Frisco? Or do you just have too many quarterbacks to think about it?
It all depends on Jimmy G. But I think it's fair to say that Kaepernick would probably be one of the best backups in the league.
Absolutely. If not one of the best starters.
That's a reach.
Okay. Is that because he's too long out of the game, or you just don't believe he has it anymore?
No, he hasn't played in 5 years or 6 years. Like, when was it? Like, what season was his last? 2016.
Yeah. And he was kind of on a downward spiral when he did go up. People were saying he kind of lost the step.
No, and again, why do you keep slagging your brothers? Statistically, he had his best season in his final year.
Is that
these are facts?
Is that the voice
statistically
of anti-racism?
Colin Kaepernick had one of his best seasons in his last year. So he wasn't on the he wasn't the fucking Dak Prescott fucking fake news overpaid shitty quarterback. He was good. He was decent. He was
that was a lot. That was
you know what? Dallas should actually kick tires on Kaepernick, because when Dak gets hurt again, which he will.
I don't know why he blesses evil on people. I do not know, and I'll never figure it out.
It's the law of averages, man.
I'm out of here. I'm done with your 49ers. I'm out of here. Let me ask you a question about another team that I made a questionable call during the offseason. We are forced to call them the Commanders now. Picking up Carson Wentz. Listen, Scary Terry, there's trade rumors going on about him right now. Obviously, Schneider, the owner, he's in litigation about just being the biggest.
They're not going to trade. Okay, first of all, there's no trade rumors about Scary Terry. He's just one of these wide receivers that is seeing the contracts being chucked out, and he wants to restructure his. And Washington should do that because he's their best offensive player. So I think Carson Wentz is a step up from what they've been like
last
couple seasons. But
is he the answer?
I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was the answer, Indy wouldn't have let him. Like, I mean, what happened in Indy last year? That was pretty ugly, and I think it's going to take a lot for him to wash that stink off. I mean,
yeah.
So, but again, who knows? I mean, they do have weapons in Washington. I think they're going to be better. Everything. I mean, I think they're arguably better on.
We can agree with Chase Young coming back. That defense is going to really make a vast improvement. And listen, right now, their team and where they're going to pay their rent is on the defensive side of the ball. And if they can keep offenses off the field, good things can happen, even with Carson Wentz in there. So, there might be some improvement. They're also one of those teams like Philly. The only problem with them is they have so many holes to fill. I mean, they got holes on the offensive line. They got holes at tight end. They got holes at receiver. I mean, look at their offense, name a hole. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Listen, good to be a Cowboy again. You know what I mean? Take over your division. Sorry?
Yeah, okay.
take over your division like you normally do, right? Make that happen, and then do you. It's the cowboy way, B. You wouldn't understand it. It's the cowboy way.
No, I wouldn't understand it because I play in a real division with real football teams. So I don't understand what you guys are up to. But, you can only play the teams that are put in front of you. Good on you guys for being in the CFL East. I mean, the NFC East.
Just go ahead and make yourself feel better.
But it doesn't matter because you could finish whatever your trumped up record is, and all roads come through San Fran, baby, and we know what happens.
Moving on. Which
exactly. Moving on. Daryl doesn't want to talk about it. Daryl doesn't want to talk about it right now.
Not at all, because you make no sense when you talk. Another one of those teams. I don't know if they're sliding or maybe moving up, depending on what they do in the draft. Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they rebuilding, or are they going to build on what they have? Like, what's going on in Pittsburgh right now?
Well, I mean,
first of all, a quarterback is necessary.
Circle back to Colin Kaepernick because
there you go.
In light of what happened to Dwayne Haskins,
rest in peace, brother.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be drafting a quarterback.
They almost have to, don't they?
But again, Kaepernick would be a decent fit, like at the very least, just to kind of reinvigorate that QB room, right? Because there's going to be some level of competition. Like they seem to think that Trubisky is the guy, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. That's one of the big questions of going into this next season is, are they going to roll with Trubisky? I'm not sure what the position is with Mike Tomlin. I don't know if there's a relationship with Kaepernick.
Right.
But just at a glance, if there was one coach and one franchise that would be open to having a guy like Colin play, probably be Pittsburgh, no?
Absolutely. But at this point, don't they want anybody in there? I mean, they're really sketchy at the quarterback position, and they haven't been making any noise about it, which is really odd. I haven't heard them making noise about it. They were kind of, before Brother Haskins got taken from us, they were happy with the carousel they had over there, and they were going to let them jockey and fight for position. So I don't even know if they want what they want at a quarterback, because who's to say if they do draft one of these young quarterbacks, if he's going to start? He might not even start. So I don't even know what's going on over there in Pittsburgh. And another team that's on Shakeyville with me, because they've had not the greatest offseason either. The Ravens. They're I don't know what's going on with them either. Players coming in and out.
But again, this is the weird part of the year, though. It's too early to be making judgment calls on what teams have done and haven't done. The draft hasn't even happened yet, right? So free agency comes and goes. The big ticket items get pulled off the shelves. There's still a few names floating around, and there probably will be, depending on what happens at the draft. But again, it's that next step. Okay, now we go through the draft, and then I think some teams, their off-field activities and programs just started this week. Then you get into the training camp and stuff. Once the injuries happen, no one wants anyone to, we joke around. I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Right.
But it's going to happen. And then that's when the next round of dominoes start to fall. So again, I'm not too concerned about, you talk about Pittsburgh, you bring up Baltimore, and it's just there's months.
Yeah.
A lot of time to make decisions.
But
you should be spending less time worrying about these other teams and more time concerning yourself with those Dallas Cowboys. Because if you want to talk about a team that hasn't done anything, that needs to do something.
Excuse me, I freed up millions in cap space while getting rid of dead weight. I don't know.
You got no players. No one wants to sign with you.
What are you talking?
All you can do is re-sign your old guys that no one else wants.
I got the bullet. Washington coming in at wide receiver. Okay? The bullet. All right? Hear that sound? You're going to hear it a lot this year from me. The bullet. All right?
Ricky, are you here, Ricky? Are you seeing
number one?
Seeing this?
I got
the bullet.
I got Dan Quinn coming in, taking over. First of all, I've got a lame duck head coach, which is the horrible thing about this season. And I think the fact that
negativity again, you can't even support your team. This is
or unlike you, it's called honesty. Why can't I be honest right now? It's called honesty. And in all honesty, let's keep it, as the kids say, real. I've got a lame duck head coach. My head coach next year is either going to be Sean Payton or it's going to be Dan Quinn. That's etched in stone. That's guaranteed.
No,
now,
it's not.
All
it's
of
not.
Dan Quinn's boys.
The fact that you're already looking to 2023, like, I almost feel bad. This is going to be a long season.
You know why? Because unlike you that just lives in the now, the immediate gratification, some of us think of the future. Some of us don't want to spend it all today. We want to keep a little bit for tomorrow. Because who knows what tomorrow may bring?
Well, it's easy to not spend today when no one is willing to purchase or sell or buy or do anything. Dallas Cowboys. I get it. I don't know. Like I said, I feel bad.
You actually,
our show was so much more fun when you kind of like had a little bit of hope when you're looking forward to this. Like, you're already putting on your 2023 hat. Like,
who said that? Who said that? The first part of conversing, my friend, is listening. And obviously, you're not doing a good job.
Oh no, I'm listening. I'm listening.
You're not listening at all.
And the two things that I heard when I asked you about Dallas was something about the bullet and Dan Quinn. Like, those are the two aces in your hole. Like,
the beginning of last season, what was the problem in Dallas? They couldn't stop anybody. No defense holes everywhere. What happened? One of the best defenses in the league this year.
Couldn't stop San Francisco, though.
What happens part two? When the greatest player,
49ers with that great defense
player in the history of the game is in a sophomore season, what are you guys gonna do? What are you guys gonna do? Not to mention the fact that draft is coming up. We're gonna pick up a linebacker. We're gonna pick up the odd defensive player to fill holes in a defense that's maybe the most underrated defense in football. And then we'll worry about the offensive side of the ball, B. We're going to throw up some holes. We're going to get a couple guards, a couple tackles. What's the problem? It's what we do. It's what we do. Get out of here. Moving on. I don't want to go on about, you know what? I don't have to go on about my boys. You already know. Here's my question about the Detroit Lions. Is it time to move on from Jared Goff? Nope. Is it time?
Nope.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
They're not ready to win yet. So he's a perfect guy to just sort of,
now, is that a team that needs a receiver in the draft? Or do they need to disrupt that O-line to protect him? Because he's not really throwing the ball to anybody.
They added DJ Chark in free agency.
Yeah, they did.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is looking like, a potential centerpiece for that franchise going forward. I think we both still love DeAndre Swift.
For sure.
They just need to stay the course. And so in that trade for Stafford, I don't know how much contract is left for Goff, but I think that, essentially there's no point in having him be the backup for, he's got to be making somewhere around $20 million this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, let Goff be the guy. Depending on how the draft shakes down, I wouldn't want to use a first or second round pick this year on one of these quarterbacks if I'm the Detroit Lions. So maybe you pick up someone a little bit later.
This is an ugly year for quarterbacks, isn't it? Like, ugly year for quarterbacks.
I wouldn't call it ugly. I just think that there's 3 or 4 guys. But they're gonna be early. I just don't see someone like.
Well, I don't see 3 quarterbacks coming out of the first round. I see 2, and that's it.
I think 3 could happen.
Nah, well, okay. Here's the thing: Does Green Bay move up? Okay, sorry. Are we still talking about Detroit? Or have we moved on?
Okay, well, just bookending the idea of the thing with Detroit. Jared Goff, there's no secrets with Jared Goff, right? Like, he is what he is. He's going to be one of those. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but he's going to be an NFL starter wherever he ends up playing. But he has upside, you know what I mean? So with all these weapons, Detroit, they're hoping that maybe, okay, he just balls out and they don't have to address the quarterback situation immediately. But for right now, for this draft, they've got a lot more holes, a lot more pressing issues on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. So just keep on going in that direction. Like I said, they're not going to win this year.
Right.
So there's no point in trying to make some big splash or whatever. So, barring injury, I think Goff stays as the quarterback for Detroit this year, and then
he's definitely their best option. And if they want to go quarterback in the future, it's there for them this year. So we'll see what happens. But another team that could be on the rise or decline, we don't know, especially now with Devontae being gone, is Green Bay. But is this the year Green Bay actually moves up and finally gets a big receiver for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I don't think they need to move up. I mean, they've got 2 picks at the end of the first round.
Well, you know, me and you believe in trade capital, right? So somebody looking for picks at the end of the first round can grab those 2 so they can move up a spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, like if you're Green Bay, like those 2 picks represent. I mean, you're still going to be able to pick up a potential superstar wide receiver with one of those picks, and then.
But are they gonna pull the trigger finally and actually do it?
Oh, no, of course. Like I mean, looking at how that Devontae trade shook down. I mean, they don't make that deal
unless they had it in mind that they were going to get a receiver.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think we're both surprised that they didn't do a little bit more in free agency. I mean,
absolutely.
Sammy Watkins, kind of a ho-hum.
Well, okay, what is your view on Sammy? Do you think he's long in the tooth? Do you think his best years are over? Does he still have it? Is he going to stay on the field? Is he going to get injured?
That's the big question. If he's healthy, that's a fantastic ad for Green Bay.
100%.
Low risk.
Yeah.
Big reward. But I think he's just going to be another kind of rotational player. Like, he's not going to be Devontae. I mean, but again, Jarvis Landry, Odell, Julio, you're not going to be able to replicate Devontae Adams' numbers one for one. But what you can at least try and do is replace those numbers in the aggregate. I mean, if you have 2 or 3 guys that can kind of represent what he does. I mean, Aaron Rodgers he's clearly still at the peak of his powers. So
MVP
back to back. So why can he not, take some of those free agents that I just rattled off? I mean, you say what you want about these young guys coming out of college, but short of Justin Jefferson or Chase, whoever it is that's coming out of college, it's unrealistic to expect them to step in and be that number one guy. Like, there's just so many
100%
becoming a number one option in the NFL. Like, I mean, it took years for Devontae and Aaron to develop that chemistry and that trust.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Whether you're talking about Jameson Williams or you're talking about Garrett Wilson, there's so many of these guys that have potential, but like it's going to take time for them to figure it out. So yeah, you draft a young wide receiver, but you need to have that veteran presence. So I think it comes down to money. I think that's why the asking price of some of these free agents that are still out there are a little bit too high. But if they go into the season with just Lazard, Cobb, Sammy Watkins, and a couple rookies that they draft, that's not going to do it, man. Like, I think they still need to add at least one more of these big name free agents. I think Jarvis Landry's the one, man. I think Jarvis Landry would be fucking incredible in that spot. Well, Julio's the sexy name, but again, Julio and Sammy Watkins are that same kind of player right now. Like, can they stay healthy? I don't see it. So,
and listen, Jarvis is still out there, right? I think he's demanding way too much money for the player that he is, but he's still out there.
But every day that price has got to be dropping. You know what I mean? Like, I think him and his agent were like, yeah, we're going to get the $20 million. And then it's probably like, if they're being honest with each other, they're probably like, all right, maybe we'll go for 15. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to sign for like 10. I think that's what Jarvis Landry. I mean, and if he believes in himself that much, then don't do a long-term deal. Do a 1-year prove-it deal, whether that's in Green Bay or Dallas or whoever is desperate for a wide receiver.
Absolutely. Okay. Here's my take. My take is, if they get him another receiver to go with Sammy, and you love Lazard, I'm not crazy about him.
Why do you keep on putting I love Lazard?
Come on. You fanboy him every week. You love him. You actually believe he's a number one receiver if there's no other receiver there. And he's clearly not a number one. But you'll give him that.
So when did I say that?
Yesterday.
Is that before or after I was waiting for that first EMT to come through? Oh, sorry. We'll talk about that off the air. Almost
Moving
May.
right along.
Almost May. Guy
We're
loses multiple bets through the season. The Super Bowl was in.
We're gonna put this in the street. Are we gonna do this?
Was in February. I think the Super Bowl was in February.
Are we moving on?
March came and went.
Are we moving on? By the way,
April. By the way, yeah. Okay. Anyways,
aggregate.
You see what I have to deal with.
First of all, aggregate. I didn't mention it before. Aggregate. Great white word. Here's the thing.
Another great white word? Befuddled. And that's what I am when I'm waiting for my finances to come through.
Another one, ostentatious. Okay, here's the thing.
Credit risk.
Wow. Jackass. Is Mac Jones for real? And are the Patriots for real? And are they going to be contenders this year?
I think so. I mean,
well,
as long as Belichick is the coach,
right? Anything's possible.
You got to respect it, man. I don't know about but off the top of my head, they signed someone to bolster that wide receiver room. Why can't I think of the name? Didn't they give Mac Jones a weapon?
Let me check. James White. No.
You know what? No. If it's someone that's not that noteworthy, then
Ty Montgomery.
Okay, that's definitely not the name.
No, they didn't. They didn't get any really. They got a linebacker and they picked up Mitchell at cornerback. But
so New England's gonna have to bolster that wide receiver room if Mac Jones is gonna step up because I mean Jacoby Myers. Why can't I think of any of their other wide receivers right now?
Because they have nobody. They literally have nobody. And the thing about Mac Jones is kind of like he was good in the first half of the season. I guess he kind of got figured out. This is what tends to happen. And then he kind of tailed off a little bit. But I don't know. Like I'm not convinced about Mac Jones. I'm not.
It's his second year, man. Like, I mean, he did enough in his rookie season. And people forget, too, the first quarter of the season when he put up the bigger numbers, it was before the defense had really established themselves, and they were in a bunch of shootouts. So he was forced to chuck the ball. Second half of the year, that defense really stepped up, and he kind of switched to being a game manager. Like, I mean, there was that one game against Buffalo where you threw the ball once.
Okay, I had a conversation with this guy the other day about that. That's starting to be a term that I'm hating right now. What does game manager mean to you? Because it means something different to everybody. But when you say game manager, what does that mean?
Well, if you look up game manager in Webster's, I think there's a picture of Dak Prescott, just sort of. And to me, that's what. I mean, it's not a good manager. I mean, that's what Webster believes. But to be fair,
you
look closely, then Dak Prescott is holding a picture of Jimmy G. So, see?
Nobody cares what we're saying right now. What is your meaning behind
man, you just fucking...
What does game manager mean to you, sir? What does it mean to you?
I told you what it means to me.
So when you say somebody's a game manager, what does that mean? That means they play quarterback? Because to me, game manager is a quarterback. A quarterback
they don't go out and win the game. They can maintain the lead and get the ball across the finish line intact, but there's nothing dynamic there. It's game management.
Every quarterback in the league, whatever. Stupidest term in football. Game manager. You're a quarterback. You're supposed to manage the game. What are we talking about? Listen. I'm getting off.
Devontae Parker. How do you have all your information and you can't? Like, it takes me 2 seconds. I knew New England signed somebody.
Yeah, but Devontae, is that really? He's all right.
You threw out Ty Montgomery.
Well, he's all right. I don't know if he still has it.
This coming from the guy who's excited about James Washington, a.k.a. the Bullet. Yeah, exactly.
Remember that sound. Is this a team that's going to make a difference this year? The Minnesota Vikings? Are they ready to make a leap?
Ooh, Ryan Weeks. What are your thoughts on this? I don't even want to ask Ryan Weeks. I don't want to ask Ryan Weeks anything. Ryan Weeks, no.
probably dancing in his underwear in his living room when I said Minnesota. But that's a team that it's that seesaw, and it usually stays in the middle. But it can go either way. They can either sink or they can rise to the top. They're one of those teams. All depends on where they're going. And then they picked up a couple.
You know what? For 17 games, the Minnesota Vikings will always be one of the better teams in the league. That's my opinion, because they've got Dalvin Cook, got Justin Jefferson. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but during the regular season, he's one of the top.
So you just overlooked Thielen, because he's white, you don't even look at him no more? Is that it? He's done for you?
Thielen, okay, well, this isn't the fucking Minnesota Vikings power hour. I just rattled off a wide receiver, a running back, and a quarterback. Like, what do you want me to do? Want me to pump the tire? You want me to talk about special teams? Want me to talk about assistant coach? Want me to get into the scouting department?
Patrick Peterson resigned.
Anyways, my point is, they're going to be good for 17 weeks. But as soon as the playoffs start, sorry, Ryan, Kirk Cousins he's that guy. He just
whether you like it or not. And listen, like you said, for 15 games out of the year, Kirk Cousins is going to play ball out, whether they win or not. But when they lose, it always comes down to him, and he's a bit of a gunslinger, and he hasn't calmed that down. So it's on him. It's on him. Now, are we going to guarantee something right now? Are we going to guarantee that it's possible that the Saints go and get a quarterback, or are they happy with what they have? Are they happy with Jameis and Winston?
No, they're happy with Winston. I mean, they wanted Deshaun. They wanted Deshaun. They didn't get him. And what are they supposed to do? Like they took the shot. They missed.
Yeah,
they got Jameis. I don't think they look at him like he's the long-term solution. But all these quarterback questions, whether we're talking about Pittsburgh or New Orleans or who, look at answered at the draft, and the teams that don't address those needs via the draft, then it's like, all right, they're making their bed and they're going to lay in it. So, and let's not forget, right before Winston got hurt last year, he actually started to play pretty good.
He did. I can't lie. He did. There's absolutely no doubt about that at all.
There was no Michael Thomas. So this season with Michael Thomas back, with a healthy Alvin Kamara, and I mean, the Saints are another team where I think they're going to go and they're going to draft a wide receiver. They're going to dip into this this talent pool that, I mean, there's 7 or 8 killers, in my opinion, coming out of this. So if you give the right weapons, I don't see why New Orleans can't make noise with Jameis. I mean, he threw for 5,000 yards, man. The guy can play.
But this is what I'm saying. The only time he gets in trouble is when he mixes both teams and throws the ball to everybody. But
he got that LASIK eye surgery. He got his eyes are all better. So I don't know if that was the big thing, but they were talking about it like it was.
Well, yeah. But you know what? I kind of still want to believe in him. He can. He's shown in the past he can get the job done. It's just not consistently.
My big thing with him is remember the pregame speech that he gave where he was fucking like, I don't even want to do it, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That to me was just like, I'm sorry, man. Like, Joe Montana, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, like these guys didn't do that. That was nonsense.
This is facts.
Go look it up. I bet you a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about. Go YouTube Jameis Winston finger licking. Just put that into the search engine. Thank me tomorrow.
It's a little bit scary. Is there any reason for us to sit here at all other than Tyrod Taylor going there and talking about the Giants at all?
Is there any point Tyrod Taylor went to the Giants?
Yeah. But that's smart because Danny Dimes is not anybody's answer to anything.
You know what?
And they stopped giving the ball to Saquon.
Okay, I'm not a big Danny Dimes fan, but he was dealing with a neck injury last year.
Yeah, true.
Apparently it's fixed. But
they did lose Evan Ingram. So
who cares? That guy's a bum.
You think he's a bust? You think he's not going to flourish? You think
if he was good, the Giants.
What about him and OJ? Do you think this is the year him and OJ maybe break out because they're in different homes right now? They got different spots. Maybe they shine a bit more.
No.
Wow. Okay. That was definite. Okay.
I think OJ's got a better chance just because of Josh Allen and that offense. But again, like OJ Howard ain't gonna be a number one. He's gonna be a spoke on that wheel. You know what I mean? And he'll be useful. He'll be useful for Buffalo. But to me, especially those tight end's a tough position because you have to understand the nuances of the blocking, pass and rush blocking. Usually takes a couple years for them to figure out. But I mean, like OJ Howard and Evan Ingram have been in the league long enough. If they were gonna fucking be the guy, they would have done it by now. And so when teams give up on him, it's like they're entering that journeyman phase where it's like, you could start like again, they'll carve out a career, but
it's not going to shine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at a team that cannot possibly be better than they were last year, and that's the Chicago Bears. I mean, the two key names because when you lose Khalil Mack and Allen Robinson off your team, there's no way you're better.
First of all, Allen Robinson didn't do anything for them last year, so that's
not his fault. Not at all his fault.
But again,
Andy Dalton's throwing you the ball and a rookie. So how is that his fault?
But I'm just saying,
and it's not to say that
losing his production or lack thereof is not going to be Khalil Mack. I'll give you that.
Look, he's getting double teamed, and he has those two people throwing him the ball. What do you want him to do?
He wasn't getting double teamed. He was an afterthought. Mooney was getting all the attention.
Of course, he was getting double teamed.
Darnell Mooney was the number one receiver, getting the top cornerback assignments for like almost all last year. Allen Robinson is a bum.
What? That's real big talk there, sir. Real big talk.
To be fair, I drafted him pretty early in one of my redraft leagues. Still a little sour. Still a little upset.
Is that what it was?
So yeah,
it sounds like sour grapes.
Yeah, so
there's no way you can sit here and call Allen Robinson garbage, and he's in your backyard right now, and that's a huge move for the Rams. That was gigantic. That was like a really big sign.
Not really worried about that. We beat them twice. Easy peasy.
But if you think they're a better team after those two players are gone, I don't see how. How can they be just as good as they were last year or better?
I think it's all because of Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields had moments last year where it's like, whew.
Yeah. Again, signs that he can maybe do something. But again,
the most important thing is Matt Nagy still the coach there? Thank you. I think that's the big thing. But again, lots of holes to fill via the draft. I love Montgomery. I think Montgomery is one of the most underrated running backs in the league. He can literally do everything. So they're going to have to lean on him. Curious to see what Mooney does, But yeah, it's all about Justin Fields and the new system that they are going to be putting in place. And if they can unlock his potential, like he's a cheat code, man. Like he's got that Michael Vick. I don't want to put him in that.
Michael Vick's kind of big.
It's a reach, but I'm saying there are parallels there.
But with a better time. Steve Young, better time.
Don't you dare bring up Steve Young. The most prolific rushing quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Until he played my defense, I stopped and pissed at him twice. Please. I know everything I need to know about that rat back. Okay. Vegas, right? Let's play Vegas right now. 1,000-1. What are the chances that the Carolina Panthers don't take a quarterback? Is it 1,000,000 to 1? Like they have to take a quarterback.
Oh no. With the 6th overall pick,
they have to get one of those quarterbacks, and they can still move up, but they have to take a quarterback. No,
I don't think they're going to need to move up. I think when you're in the 6th spot, you're kind of golden. It'll be someone later on that wants to jump up into the top 10 if they really feel like one of those quarterbacks. Now, again, Malik Willis is the one that everyone is talking about, the upside, the potential.
But there's a lot of downsides to this brother. Like we'll go into it just before the draft.
Always fucking another black guy. Just a lot of downsides with the brother. Like, why do you have to be like that, man? Why can't you?
Oh my gosh!
Why can't you support your own?
I'm thankful for this. Now that we're on different platforms, if you're new to us, do me a favor, click that subscribe, hit the like, and make sure you're joining us every week when we're here. But you're gonna hear some outrageous, insane thing coming out of this man's mouth do me a favor, direct all of the traffic to him. I don't want to hear it.
Just because I'm supporting.
He says blacks with a hard B. Just understand that. Blacks.
Yeah, and you're the guy that's trashing the blacks, which is crazy to me because it's supposed to be your people.
Supposed to be.
You don't see the fucking guru slagging Corral or Pickett. No, yeah, you fucking, they're really good. They're a generational quarterback out of Pitt.
Like, this is the first time on this show ever that we've been this far into Carolina Panthers that he didn't mention the white Christian McCaffrey.
Why does he have to be the white? Why can't it just be CMC, the guy that won me a bottle of whiskey?
You brought that up, B. You're the one that made that noise about him. That's your boy. That's your boy who you still believe is the number one running back in the game. Like if you have number one pick this year.
Last time I checked,
here we go.
Only running back.
Here we go.
Running back that ever won me a bottle of Oban. So he will always have a place in my heart. And to be fair, that's the only bet. That's the only bet that you've ever actually paid up on. So it's kind of like a unicorn. Like McCaffrey is like. It's like a leprechaun riding a unicorn.
In a fairy tale.
It's all sorts of crazy shit that happened. It's a miracle that it actually went down the way that it did. So that's why
listen.
I support McCaffrey.
You support McCaffrey. Under
anything to do with him
over under on him playing more than 6 games this year. Over under
6 games.
6
over easy. I think he plays 15 games this year. He misses 2.
That's real big numbers. Real big numbers. Well, and that's where we're at. We're at the end of this now. You're all caught up in the teams and what they've done in the offseason, getting ready for the draft. Now, the draft is in 10 days, maybe less than 10 days. Come join us here for all the picks, everything that goes on in the draft this year. Give me your first surprise. I don't think we're getting out of the top 10 before there's a trade up. And in recent years, we've kind of been stuck, not waiting for things to happen. I think last year it finally happened.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say that there are no trades.
What?
Inside the top 10. The top 10 are going to go down the way that they are. And this is the reason why.
I don't think so.
The reason why. There is no definitive defensive player. There's no legitimate number one quarterback. There's no reason to jump up into the top 10 if you're trying to get a wide receiver because there's so many.
There are really good tackles and linemen, though. There's somebody.
But again, for what a team in the top 10 would want to trade down, I think what happened last year with the Patriots, I think people saw the Belichick blueprint and went, you know what? There's no need to go crazy, especially if there's not someone there that we absolutely have to have. Let's just be patient. So, depending on the day of the week, the first overall pick has been bouncing around from 5 or 6 different. Most people are saying it's Hutchinson, but then a month ago it was Thibodeau, and then you're talking about maybe it's Evan Neal, or maybe it goes crazy and someone wants to go quarterback. Who knows? But there's not like a definitive. Okay, this is the guy. So I'm going to say right now that list, that top 10, the way that it is right now, that's the way it's going to be.
I completely disagree.
We shall see.
I completely disagree. I think the Giants are going to make a move to get more picks because they can. I think there's too many moving pieces. There's too many moving. I think there's going to be a lot of action in this year's draft. There's going to be
There's going to be trades, but I'm just saying that I think the top 10. I think it's one of those situations where the teams that are in the top 10 right now are probably going to be asking too much to trade down. And I think the teams below are going to be like, you know what? We'll stand pat and we'll let the draft come to us. So again, I hope I'm wrong because I want to see those trades. Like it's fun to have all that action. I still want to come out to Montreal too, man. Like I want to make it happen, but
oh man,
me getting COVID last week, it's like
would you say you got it out the way?
Got it out the way, but I mean. I'd take a week plus off of work. It's like I don't know if I can justify taking another week off just to go. Your ass through the fucking draft show.
Look, we're gonna make it happen at some point, so I'm not really worried about it. All right, everybody. For our new friends on new platforms here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like. We are here. We're going to be your one-stop shopping for the NFL draft this year, coming up in about 10 days. And this is how we do it. So for my broadcast partner, D. Sanchez, and for those of you that don't know what D. Sanchez stands for, it actually is that, because he makes no sense at all.
And for any of you in the greater Montreal area, if you want to see the Guru live, he'll be slanging the hash at Applebee's East 4 nights a week.
Here we go. Shout out to my boys at the Voot. That's where we do it. We make it happen every weekend. Your hot spot, making it happen. We got the greatest sushi in the city. We got amazing tomahawk steaks. We got filet mignon. We even got lamb chops. It is the hottest spot in the city.
And then when he gets called off from those shifts and he ends up at Buffalo Wild Wings, they got fantastic.
They don't have those restaurants in Montreal. Can you stop with that? We are not a corporate restaurant city. We actually cook real food, B. Real food. You understand?
What's wrong
we had Raspberry Bay oysters in our bar this year from PEI. All right? That's how deep we go.
What's wrong with Applebee's? What's wrong with Buffalo Wild Wings? Like,
obviously, you've never been to Montreal. Save that question for when you get here. I'm going to answer it for you. In spades, my friend. So this is how we do it. I am your board.
Spades, my kind of word.
Wow. I am your board certified fantasy football and all sports guru, right alongside the biggest racist in the game. His name is what? Sorry? What? Did I say something wrong? Was that a bad term? Did I say something else? No? Greatest guy in the game. Sorry. I forgot my adjective. Greatest guy in the game.
That's coming from one of the blacks.
See, he can't help it. It's almost like he can't help himself.
Okay, I gotta go.
This is Brother Stockball, and we will see you later on in the week. Have a good one, sir.
You too.
All right, brother.